Hi and welcome to this episode of Gridiron TV. I'm your host Stuart Young, and as always I'm joined by Alan Price. And on tonight's show we're going to be discussing the games from the weekend for the playoff semi-finals.
Yeah, it was a fantastic weekend. We've got some great lineups, and we now have our lineups for BritBowl confirmed. So we're really looking forward to discussing those matches, and we'll tell you more about BritBowl and also a few other events, including the FBU Bristol camp.
So don't go away, Gridiron TV. We'll be right back. Hi, welcome back to Gridiron TV. Well, Alan, we had some really good mouth-watering ties at the weekend.
Yeah.
Let's start with the Peterborough Saxons in Division 2. They were up against the Milton Keynes Pathfinders.
Yeah.
Again, it's the third time they've played them this season.
Yeah, we heard from both teams. So Pathfinders were desperate to get back in and get revenge on them. But then likewise, we spoke to Coach White from the Saxons, and he said, our guys are ready too. So we know it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be physical. But it's a whitewash for the Saxons. They won 26-0, so congratulations to them. They're going to the bowl, and commiserations to the Pathfinders, who did still have a really good season and a really good shot at it, actually.
They did, and they've done really well, and they come out a really tough division. Going up against the 10-0 Saxons, who have been excellent all season. And it's no discredit to lose to them away from home as well. No. I'm sure Michael Keogh of the Pathfinders will be delighted with their performance this season, and it's something to maybe look on for next season and try and take that next step further, and hopefully they'll end up in Sheffield.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll come on to the other teams as well, but I know other teams have been saying the same, that despite losing in the semi-finals, that's still a great year, really, being in the top four. So they've had a very successful season, and no doubt they'll take a lot of steps towards getting to the final for next year.
Great. Now we've got representatives from the Peterborough Saxons on the phone right now.
Let me start off with a congratulations. You've made it through to BritBowl now with a fairly comfortable victory. Third time in asking against the Pathfinders. How was the game?
It was a really tough game. Obviously, if you look at the results, the first game that we played against Pathfinders was a little bit misleading in the score. We came out and everything went well for us, and they struggled to really get their game going. I don't think they completed a single pass in that game, and had some successful drives on the ground, but nothing that really threatened our end zone. And then we went away to them the next week, and I think complacency hit us a little. And we went in a bit too confident, and a few crucial mistakes on defence were really punished by the Pathfinders. And as the scoreline suggests, there were times in the game where our confidence had dropped somewhat. But then coming into the third game, we assumed we'd be together, and the confidence, in an overconfident way, but in almost an awareness of how good a team we are. And the position we are in right now to go all the way and collect the championship trophy up in Sheffield.
Yeah, and you're now due to face the Predators, who've had a very strong season themselves. So have you had much of a chance to see them in action?
I haven't got up to see them at all this year, but the offense they run very well, because it's very similar to what the Hallam Warriors were running, or have been running for the last few years under Coach Patty. It can punish poor teams, and if your defence isn't switched on, they can really punish you. And it is an excellently drilled outfit. They all know their jobs, they know their positions, and they know how to run their offense. And that's going to be the biggest challenge for us. I couldn't have wished for a better final up in Sheffield, against Sheffield, and against the offence, which I've seen run quite often, because I'm a Sheffield Sabres fan. One of the new upcoming teams in BAFANL this year. They've been around for a long time and used to be quite good, have struggled somewhat. and are now coming back to the top. And the next 2 years, they're going to be coming up Hallam. And that's got me quite excited. And it's quite exciting to actually have our own game against this double wing offence, to prove to the country, to prove to everyone in the sport that a very good double wing offence can beat poor teams. But when it comes up against a great team like the Peterborough Saxons, it will struggle.
And how are the guys feeling about making the trip to Sheffield? Are they excited already?
There's a bit of excitement, but I think a lot of the players, like the management and coaches, feel like it was a job that hasn't yet been finished, and everything up to this point, 13 victories, albeit 3 of those coming from cancelled games, is key. So far we've got 12, and without that last victory, without the championship, it almost devalues slightly what we've done so far. We came into this season with the goal of winning every game and going to the championship and finishing it off, and that's the last thing we've got left to tick off our list. So I think the players are happy we've got there, but they're all feeling like we need to achieve this to really prove who we are and what we are.
Excellent. It's really shaping up to be a very exciting match. 2 teams I'm likely to see a lot of scores in the game, but good luck to yourselves. We'll see you down there as we're broadcasting it live, and thanks very much for joining us on the show.
That's great. Thanks a lot for your time. Cheers.
Well, thanks very much to the Saxons there. A great interview there. Now let's go on to the other Division 2 semi-final. The Sheffield Predators had the Edinburgh Wolves visiting. This is really shaped up to be quite an interesting one. Sheffield have been dominant all year, and a lot of people expected them to continue it. We did say it would be a little bit closer after seeing how the Wolves performed, but they came up a little bit short in the end.
They did, Alan, and you know, for what I've heard from the game reports, I mean, 7-6 at half time to Sheffield kind of suggests that it was a very defensive game. Both teams didn't want to give anything away too early. And you know, very, very tight game all round, and all of a sudden you get this explosion of scores in the second half, which, you know, just made it look like a fantastic game to watch. And certainly credit to both sides. Sheffield progress. Congratulations to them. And at the end of the day, you know, travelling to Sheffield was always going to be a difficult task, and I'm sure Don Edmondson and the Wolves coaching staff knew that, and they prepared for it. People had Chester to beat them at home, and you know, they went out there and played a great game of football, which we witnessed. And thoroughly deserved to be in the semi-final. And certainly, you know, I think Don and the Wolves guys will certainly go back to Edinburgh, and they'll look at footage for that game, and they'll look at their structure, and they'll say to themselves, well, look, you know, this is a season to be proud of. It's the best season the Edinburgh Wolves have had. And you know, Don's went on about the ball's a goal all season, and rightfully so. This team's capable of making the ball, and hopefully we'll see them back next season again. But Sheffield against Saxons, it's a mouth-watering game. It really, really is. Definitely,
a lot of people are getting excited for that. Yeah, and we're actually been able to get in touch with Coach Batty from the Predators. So, Coach, thanks very much for joining us.
Pleasure, Alan. Thank you.
Congratulations for your semi-final victory. You're now in BritBowl. You had a tough match against Edinburgh. How did it go?
It was, just as you said, it was very, very tough. There was nothing that we didn't expect. We'd obviously scouted Edinburgh, and they came and they put it on the field. They were excellent, offence, defence, special teams. They were really excellent on the day. And the first half score being 7-6 just shows you how tight, how close it was. It was brutal. Offensively, defensively, there was a lot of contact out there. It was a punishing game for the guys on the field. It was probably punishing for the coaches on the sideline as well. I know I was physically drained at the end as well.
Yeah, certainly following it online, it was very surprising to see it such a low score at half time. But from what we've heard, it was just a case of the team being able to keep grinding and take advantage of a few mistakes and then convert them into points and keep the lead.
Yeah, I mean, the first half was it was intense. I mean, both teams were fired up. They were playing at a very high level. And we had to make some tweaks in the second half on both the offensive and defensive side. A couple of tweaks on the blocking schemes, and the second half started pretty much like the first finished, and then we just sort of clicked for a period of about 8 or 10 minutes, and we punished a couple of mistakes that Edinburgh had, and we sort of put 1 or 2 scores in front of them, and we then managed to just basically grind the game out. Both offenses played really, really well in that second half. And all credit to Edinburgh, they kept going right up to the last.
And this now sets you up for an appearance in BritBowl in 2 weeks' time. So, of course, you'll have some work to do to scout your opponents. But how do you feel about that game, first of all?
Looking forward to it. Peterborough Saxons, they're going to be a very, very difficult unit. They're very good. I mean, clearly they're very good, and we've done some scouting work on them already, and we're under no illusion we've got one out of the task on. We're going to have to be on our game to keep up with them. They're a very good team, and we're obviously looking forward to it. It's been played in Sheffield. I'll be able to roll out of bed an hour before I need to get there, and that'll save us a couple of hours of a trip that some teams are going to have to make. And obviously we're hoping to get some home support there on the Saturday to cheer us on. The support on Sunday was exceptional, and I think at times they got us back into the game when we started to flag. The noise on the sideline was deafening, and it certainly got to the guys on the field. It upped their game.
Yeah, certainly home field advantage makes a difference, and it's going to make a difference not having to travel very far. Although I believe you'll be the visiting team. You'll no doubt get plenty of support in the crowds. But overall, this season's gone well for you. It's going to plan, isn't it?
Yes, it has. I mean, yeah, it has. I mean, it has gone well. We've played well. And at the beginning of the season, we certainly had some ambitious thoughts in our heads. I mean, I said to the guys, we're going to get to the final, and they just believed from the very first training session. And well, if that's what the coach is saying, then that's what's going to happen. And they've never doubted it at all at any time, and they put the work in. And they deserve everything they've got. I'm really, really pleased for these guys. 2 years ago, they finished the season 0-10. And this year, they've gone undefeated. They've gone through 2 playoff games and they've got through to the National Division 2 final. It's absolutely incredible what they've done. And I'm really, really proud to just be a part of it.
Excellent. Well, we're looking forward to seeing you in that final match. Congratulations again, and good luck for BritBowl.
Thank you, Alan.
Welcome back to Gridiron TV. A big thank you for Coach Batty of Sheffield there. Alan, let's go on to Division 1 now. Let's look at the West Coast Trojans against the Berkshire Renegades. We predicted that as quite a high scoring game again, and West Coast Trojans just didn't let us down.
No, you called it. You said it's so difficult to travel up there. They've been so consistent during the regular season and getting points and denying them. It was Berkshire only got 1 score on the board, and the Trojans went past 40, so a comfortable win for them. But it's a very consistent momentum they've had right through regular season, through playoffs now. So it kind of bodes well for them for BritBowl to get the same number of points on the board.
I mean, West Coast Trojans are no stranger to being in Sheffield for the finals. They were there last year for the Division 2 final and lost to the South Wales Warriors. And I'm sure Gary McNeil will have them drilled and say to them, look guys, let's not go down here for a second loss and let's make sure they win it. And something, looking at the way they've played this season, they're more than capable of winning this game. But they've got a hard fixture, which we'll discuss later. But, huge congratulations, another 40 plus points. Commiserations to Berkshire. It's a long way to travel to play a game of football to Ayrshire. But I'm sure they'll be proud of their achievements this year. And, they're a team to be reckoned with for next year, I believe. Yeah, definitely.
Definitely not a bad team at all. So a long journey back when you've lost like that, but plenty of time to work in the off season and come back and get through it next year.
We're now joined once again by the West Coast Trojans and by Alistair Kirkwood. Alistair, thanks very much for joining us.
No problems, Alan, anytime.
So first of all, congratulations, you're through to BritBowl. It's 2 BritBowls in 2 years, so the club must be feeling really good right now.
Yeah, absolutely. The lads are buzzing just now. Division 2 BritBowl and Division 1 in, as you said, in consecutive years. It's quite an achievement, we feel. So yeah, the guys are really excited.
Yeah, and we saw your highlights actually from the semi-final match against the Renegades, and sort of similar to your form throughout the season, been very, very consistent. Been able to put points on the board and hold other teams out, and you've done it again. You won 43 points to 6, so pretty comfortable. But how was the game from your point of view?
Yeah, well, from our point of view, obviously starting the first 2 drives, each team put a score on the board. So it seemed pretty evenly matched, in the first few minutes. Our defence made a couple of adjustments, and we denied Berkshire the chance to move the ball, so that really set up the platform for the offence to go and play football, and that was then the story for the rest of the game. I think while the offence was, we were firing on all cylinders, it was certainly a defensive-led start to the game anyway. They gave us good field position, and they certainly took the wind out of the sails of Berkshire after they scored their first touchdown.
Yeah, and as we mentioned, it's a very consistent performance throughout the year, and you now head through to BritBowl to face the Thunder, who themselves have had a good year and are kind of in a resurgent mode now. In their semi-final match, they've had a lot of returning players. So have you, as a player or even as a squad, had a chance to look at your opposition much this year?
Yeah, we've seen a couple of highlight videos. I leave it to the more experienced coaches than myself to actually go out and scout teams. I think we did a lot of that last year leading up to the final, and I don't think it served us very well. So I think our main focus is going to be going out there playing our game, and hopefully we can force the Thunder to change the way they play to suit us, as opposed to us changing the way we play to suit them. So fingers crossed that's the way the game will hold for us. But as you said, they're a resurgent team coming down from the Premier. They had a lot of returning players, so they're certainly going to be a very, very stiff challenge for us. So hopefully we can rise to the occasion.
And last BritBowl, you had to travel a little bit further than you will this year. You're only going to Sheffield this time, but one more road trip for yourselves. How's the team feeling overall?
Yeah, the road trips don't seem to phase our guys too much. We've had some pretty long journeys this year down to Coventry and down to Nottingham, both of which are followed in BritBowl. So the road trips aren't an issue for us. We don't feel it affects our performance too much. London last year was good. The guys liked going down to the trip down to London for the game was good. Obviously the result at BritBowl wasn't the best, so hopefully the change of venue will bring a bit more good fortune than London did.
Absolutely. Well, good luck for BritBowl, and hopefully you'll be able to catch up with yourselves as we'll be down there filming. So thanks very much for joining us on the show again.
Yeah, no problem, Dan. As I said, anytime.
Absolutely. And let's look at the Sussex Thunder against the East Kent Mavericks. Now this was some game. This a big comeback for the Mavericks.
Yeah, almost. They almost came back. The Thunder had a bit of a lead, and then they kind of clawed it back with a field goal and touchdowns here and there. But then the Thunder managed to get the ball back, and then at the end they actually added another score, so it was 37-30. So a pretty even match. I think we'd mentioned it'd be such, but the Thunder kind of held on, perhaps showing their experience of being able to go to BritBowl before,
yes.
Knowing what it's like playing in a semi-final and having to kind of dig deep in the bottom of the fourth quarter.
And this is what we're talking about, and I think this is what fans really want to see. Games where a team's up by 20 odd points and all of a sudden the Mavericks come back and clinch it to within a score, but then the Thunder proceed, and you talk about they've been there before. The West Coast Trojans have been there before. Yeah. Both teams with huge experience are going to be matching up in Sheffield on that day, and it's going to be a fantastic game, which we'll discuss later. Yeah. But the Mavericks, were they unlucky, or were the Thunder better at the end of the day? Because they go so far ahead, and all of a sudden the Mavericks just push back. Did they fall asleep during the start of the game? I don't know.
It's hard to say whether or not they've just been like maybe a kind of a blip in the game where they just let a few scores in, or whether it was just genuinely that Sussex had the tempo. Mm-hmm. We've heard from the Mavericks coaches that because the Thunder had a lot of players returning from injury, we spoke with Coach Ellis just beforehand, and he said he had a lot of guys returning, and the Mavericks said, we've never seen the team like this. It's completely different to how they'd seen it in the regular season. So that would have been a little bit of a surprise to them.
Quite a difficult team then to prepare against and to coach against, to be honest, if they haven't seen half these guys before. But then, in all credit, you can only beat the team that you're up against at the end of the day, and they've done really well and made it probably one of the closest games I've heard of all year.
Definitely, a really exciting one that most people were watching over the weekend. So right from sort of the very first play, everyone was like, "Oh well, hang on, this is going to be a bit different to what we expected." So let's stay tuned for an exciting one.
Excellent. Well, we've actually got Sussex Thunder on the phone just now to have a chat with them. Thanks for joining us on Gridiron TV.
Not a problem. As I said last week, I was hoping to talk to you again, so it's a pleasure.
Yeah, you came through successful, but it almost didn't go the way you wanted to. They almost made a comeback on you, didn't they?
No, absolutely. We seem to have made an art form this year of allowing teams back into the game, and that's take nothing away from the Mavericks. They were a very good team. We were very lucky. We had, as I said last week, we had a number of players that were injured during the year, and we've got a number of those guys back now. So we knew that we were going with a much stronger team, and we kind of went out into a lead. I guess my players would have suggested it was a comfortable lead, and the Mavericks just kept coming back. So they definitely put up a good fight, and towards the end of the game, it could have gone either way.
Yeah, I think from the very first play we saw tweets actually coming through from them just saying, "Wow, we didn't expect to see the Thunder this good. We haven't seen them this good all year." So you must have made an impression on them early on, and you did say you'd have a number of guys returning from injury, so that seems to have made the difference in taking you through to BritBowl.
Yeah, we had the last time that we played the Mavericks 3 weeks ago. We took 32 players to that game, and we had lost a lot of our starters, but we took 52 players to play this week. So obviously they saw a much bigger team, a much more aggressive team, and I think in the very beginning of the game that might have got to them psychologically slightly. But obviously they recovered very well and came back and started their comeback just before the half. But half time they made some good adjustments and just came back stronger in the second half.
And so now you make it through to BritBowl once again. You've been there before, and it's your chance to take another shot at it. How much time have you spent, and how much of a chance have you had to look at the Trojans leading up to this game?
Well, I'm one in believing sort of one game at a time. So we never looked at the Trojans prior to this week, but we've now had an opportunity to look at some film, and we're starting to break that down. I mean, quite obviously they're a very strong team. I've known Gary McNay for a number of years. When I was back with the Knights, sort of for the 10 years between 2000 and 2010, we played against teams that Gary was on, the Pirates. So I know they're going to be a very strong team, and obviously we will do all we can to prepare for them. I'm lucky again. I've got some more players coming back from injury, so by the time we go to the BritBowl, I'm sure it'll be a fantastic game.
Yeah, I'm sure the team's really looking forward to it as well. Do you have a lot of guys in the squad that will be making a reappearance from they were there the last time you were there?
Well, there will be there's a number of guys that were on the Sussex Thunder 2008 team. There's also a number of guys that were with me at the Knights. So we've got some guys, with a number of guys that have got some experience. We do have some newer guys that have never been to a championship before, who are understandably very excited by the prospect. It was one of the goals that we set, or it was the goal that we set for the year, was to go to the national championship. I'm not sure that everybody believed it right at the beginning of the year, but it was our goal. We've worked towards it. We've worked every week, one game at a time, to get here. So obviously, people in our team and in our organisation are ecstatic that we've reached that goal.
Well, congratulations, Coach, and we look forward to maybe catching up with you at the stadium for BritBowl itself.
Thank you very much. I hope to see you there.
Well, welcome back, and let's finish off with a roundup of the Premiership games. And we'll start off with the London Warriors facing off against crosstown rivals, the Olympians. We kind of predicted it would be not so close, and it really wasn't, so Warriors were just all over this one.
To be honest, Alan, and no disrespect to the London Olympians, and I'm sure they'll realise it themselves, no one expected them to win this game, which maybe kind of put them in there as the underdogs, obviously, and rightfully so against the Warriors. They're probably the best team in the whole of the country right now, and it's going to take a damn good team to beat them. And they proved that again on Sunday. 40-0. And to be fair, I just can't see anyone stopping them right now. They're on a roll. They're full of confidence, and they've got talent. And all those combined together makes it a very, very difficult game. And you were predicted it right again, Al.
Now, do you think such a wide score margin like this in the semi-final is good for them, or do you think it would have been better preparation for them, perhaps if it was maybe one or two scores in it, would have made it tougher for them?
I think it possibly would have made it tougher for them. I think the way they've won this season, they've won, other than the Blitz games, they've won convincingly, whoever they've came up against. Maybe the Blitz games, it's always been a score. And you understand that because the Blitz are a quality side. But I think if they went in there and maybe the Olympians had pushed them to a score two, I think then they would have said to themselves, well, actually, you know something, this is preparing us for a battle. But it's always good to have confidence. Yeah. And I think certainly that's going to sort of give them in good stead. The fact that they've got 2 up on the Blitz already. This season, so.
Absolutely. So it does put them as favourites for the final. And you mentioned the Blitz there in the other semi-final, travelling the length of the country to face the Pirates. A very close match. It seemed like everything was going against the Blitz. The long journey had a bit of a problem with their bus as well.
Well, they did, Alan, and going to Glasgow and getting your televisions nicked from your bus and getting it burnt out certainly wasn't a good start to preparations.
No.
Unfortunately for me, I got the timing wrong. I turned up at half time, so apologies to everybody for that. But what I did see in the second half, what a fantastic game of football I watched and witnessed. Both teams were absolutely gunning for a place in the final. Yep. And the Pirates took the lead. They got a touchdown when I just arrived, and took the lead with a good field goal to 17-14. And the Blitz, the Blitz, they're a fantastic side. Really, really good team to watch play football. Very little mistakes other than the fact that they got a punt return call back for 12 men on the field.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame when these things go against you, but like you said, the scores went either way, so it kept people on edge, trying to figure out who would actually win this one. But it does appear as though, even though the Pirates are a fantastic side, the kind of travelling experience of the Blitz and their experience going through semi-finals and BritBowls and European legs and so on seems to have paid off on this one. That
Absolutely.
They can shut everything else out and just focus on coming back and getting that last score when it counts.
Yeah, they did, and they didn't let that penalty phase them. They basically got their heads back on the game again, and they scored. And and all credit to them. A lot of teams maybe would have affected them, and maybe lower division teams might have affected them. But yeah, with given their experience, and then obviously the Pirates got the ball back and they fumbled on the Blitz 34-yard line from the snap, and the Blitz recovered, and pretty much that was it, game over after that. And you saw the disappointment in the Pirates' faces, but hats off to them. What a game of football they played. What a great season in general as well.
Yeah, we did say it would come down to maybe one player interception or a fumble or something just to turn the tables, and it's harsh when it goes against you like that, because you feel like you've not done everything you could, and you get all these feelings. But
what I witnessed, Alan, they did everything they could. Don't think any player from Blitz or from the Pirates left anything on that field yesterday.
And we're actually joined by the Blitz right now, so thanks very much for joining us.
No, thank you.
So congratulations, you guys have made it through to BritBowl once again. You had the long trip up to face the Pirates. It was a difficult trip with a few problems on the way, but you did manage to come back and pull out the victory. So how was the game from your perspective?
Yeah, no, it was a good game. You can say it was definitely an eventful trip, but once we actually got there to the rugby club, it was a good game. It was a hard game, really hard game. They were a good team, good setup, and they really did give us a challenge. And luckily, we managed to sort of dig in and pull out the W sort of towards the dying minutes.
Yeah, it was a much anticipated game, really. A lot of people around the country were talking about wanting to see this one, and it lived up to expectation with the lead changing hands a few times, and it was certainly one of your more difficult games of the year to finally make it through to BritBowl.
Absolutely, it was. As you say, it changed sort of towards the last, especially in the last quarter, it did change hands a couple of times, and on another day it could go the other way. It was a good game and a good side, and it's on our side it was good to go into a game like that. It was a challenge and pull through and get to where we need to be.
Yeah, and overall the season's it's been good, barring the couple of slip-ups with the Warriors. You've had a good season, and of course your European trips as well. So for 2012, how have you seen it as a year for the club overall?
It's been a different year compared to our last few years. We've had changes in coaching personnel and other things like that. And as you mentioned with Europe, that's taken a lot of our time and efforts, and it's definitely been challenging. There's been a lot going on. It's sort of pushed us to limits that we haven't been pushed before. And even in terms of domestic games here, all the teams around us they're definitely getting better. As you see, we've had a couple of losses to a team, so it's been challenging, but it's something that we've really enjoyed, and hopefully it's made us better.
Yeah, now looking forward to BritBowl. It's a rematch now, yourself and the Warriors. So first of all, how are you feeling about BritBowl for this year?
I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to it. It's absolutely going to be a challenge. We're with this couple just over a week to go. It's everyone's got to put in 100% effort. We need to do everything we can to be ready for that day. So it's going to be a tough match, but I'm really looking forward to it, and hopefully we can do what we've got to do.
And of course, as a squad, you'll be looking for a bit of revenge on the Warriors to claw back a victory where it really counts this time.
Absolutely. As the pre-season's about getting to the regular season's about getting to the playoffs and to the finals. So we've got through that, and as you say, it's all on this one last match. It's do or die.
Yeah. Well, good luck for BritBowl. No doubt we'll hopefully be able to catch up with you whilst we're down there, and look forward to talking to you again sometime.
Thank you for having me on.
Hi, welcome back to Gridiron TV. A big thank you there to the London Blitz for that interview. Well, stepping aside from BritBowl just now, remember Football University are back in Europe again for selection for the European All-Star team. So from the weekend of the 25th till the 29th, Football University will be back and giving clinics across the whole of Europe. So they'll be starting in Germany, Alan, I believe.
Yep, that's right. So whilst we'll be attending BritBowl on the 25th and 26th, they'll be across in Germany for two days, and then they move through to Holland, Belgium, and then they come back to Bristol on the 29th. So it'll be a nice end to their European tour, but also a great chance for all the athletes here to go and attend a clinic. And then if they're under 19, they can also be in with a chance to be selected for that European All-Star team. Absolutely,
and it's a great opportunity as well. So if you want to get involved with the Football University, you can go onto their website, www.footballuniversity.org, or you can visit the Gridiron TV website, which we'll give you at the end of the show, and it has all the details there where you can register. But make sure you get in fast because places are running out. So look, don't go away. We're right back where myself and Alan will be discussing the final games at BritBowl. Welcome back to Gridiron TV. Alan, let's now talk about the finals.
Yeah.
Okay, let's start Division 2, the big final against the Peterborough Saxons and the Sheffield Predators. Mm-hmm. Home field advantage really for the Predators. They're going to have a good support in the stadium that day.
Yeah, although officially it will be the Saxons that are registered as the home team, but really it's the Predators that just nip across town. So they'll have a lot of support, like you said. They'll have the benefit of not having to travel so far. But there'll be a lot of kind of speculation around them because they obviously run this different offence that's caught a lot of teams out. So Saxons will no doubt be plenty aware of it now. So whether or not they've had a chance to kind of plan for it and design their defence around that or not, I'm sure they will have plenty of action in place. But likewise, it's going to be tough playing against the Saxons because they've been really physical all year.
Mm-hmm. And they have, and to be fair, but let's look at Sheffield. Sheffield are a very physical side as well, very powerful, very fast side. I mean, they play that double wing that everybody's been going on about, and it's been very effective for them. Mm-hmm. Can Willie White and the Saxons, snuff that out? We don't know. I'm sure Willie will have something up his sleeve, but it's just going to be such an entertaining game to watch. Both teams with great offences, very good defences. What's going to give first?
Yeah, I mean, it does seem like it's going to be a high-scoring game, I think. Mm-hmm. So it's probably going to be in the favour of the offence. They're going to have a chance to run riot without meaning any kind of disrespect to the defences. They'll no doubt want to shut them down. But I think it does feel like it's, rather than being like a one score in it game, it'll be maybe like quite a big number involved. So a few scores on the board.
But Alice, obviously you're talking about if they mix up the double wing, if they sort it out. Well, let's not you sit on the fence.
Yeah.
Give us a prediction.
Well, yeah, I mean, when it comes down to it, I think the Saxons will have the experience to look at the film, break it down, get everyone trained on how to shut down that double wing. So I do see them winning, perhaps maybe 2 scores, I think. Although there's not, I think both teams will get plenty of numbers on the board, but it will be the Saxons that just edge ahead.
Well, I'm going with the Saxons. I'm also going with the Saxons. I just believe that Willie White's side, I've got a bit more experience there. I think that they're a very powerful team. I think they've got the confidence in them, but again, they're not. They're going against one of the best offences in the whole of British football, and they're going to have it. They're up against it straight from the very start. I think 1 score in it, I believe.
Okay.
1 score in it, and it's going to be to the Saxons.
Excellent. Well, let's go on to the Division 1 match now. So we mentioned already, Trojans, high-scoring team. Can they keep that going against the Thunder, or do the Thunder have the experience there to shut it down?
Again, it's just so difficult to call. Both teams got the experience of being at BritBowl, and they're going to have a lot of rookies here as well. But the West Coast Trojans have Tommy McGeorge. I find it hard to see past the Trojans, and it's not being biased for being Scottish or anything. I think the Thunder are a quality side, a very good team. It's going to take a lot to beat the Thunder. It really is, and they're going to be on their best game, the Trojans, in this one. I think it's going to be the most difficult game of the season, and I reckon they'll win it by two scores. Definitely.
I mean, the difference to here is that in a lot of the Trojans games, it's been quite one-sided, quite a lot of scores in their favour, whereas the Thunder have had a more closer games, especially coming off the Mavericks game. We mentioned that could always help a team to get that tough battle just before, so it keeps you grounded, keeps you in mind of what if they come back in the fourth quarter, what if they take the lead? Are we strong enough to then come back and overturn that? Yeah. So I think that could work in their favour, but like you said, as long as the Trojans can keep up this momentum, which they have done all year, then that should see them through to the championship.
I mean, you look at the Thunder though, they gave up so many points in the second half of that game. You just cannot do that against the Trojans. They will punish you, and they will punish you quickly. So I think if they are going to try and get something out of this final, they're going to have to come out with a good defensive plan and be solid.
Yep. So your prediction for the game then?
2 scores, Trojans.
2 scores. I would probably say Trojans as well. Perhaps 1 or 2 scores again. So very similar.
Good. Well, let's look at the final one. Let's look at the Premier League. Now, this is a rematch of last year that the Blitz won with 20 points. But the Warriors have sort of turned the tables a little bit in the Premier South. They've beaten the Blitz twice, and there's only been a score in it, Alan. And this is probably one of the toughest of the 3 to actually call.
Definitely. We've been saying it all year. We can't look past a Blitz Warriors final, and here it is again. So credit to both teams for just being consistent. Barring those 2 minor slip-ups for the Blitz, they've been great all year. And they came back against the Pirates. So like with the Thunder, that's going to help them. Just remind them that they are plenty capable of digging out a victory, regardless of whether they fall behind or not. So it's going to help them certainly. But like you said, it's really difficult to predict. Actually, it does feel like the momentum's with the Warriors. However, the Blitz have this knack of just defying that and just getting on with themselves. And who knows? It's not even out with the realm for them to win by 3-4 scores. Given the kind of unpredictability between these two.
Absolutely. So what's your predictions then? Give me a prediction for the final.
I think there's no secrets between them, so they know exactly what to expect from each other. So it's just going to be down to physicality and who wants it more. It's an old cliche, but it's quite true in this case. I think given the Warriors' victories over Blitz during the season, plus there are things like the visits from Ray Lewis to kind of work with them in training, I think that may give them the edge in terms of the desire to beat them. So regardless of what happens on the pitch, I'd probably look at this one as being a Warriors victory.
Well, Alan, I'm going to go against you on this one. What I witnessed at the weekend, the first time I've ever seen the Blitz in the flesh, what a fantastic football team they actually are, and a privilege to watch them as well. And given how much they actually wanted to win against the Pirates, I'm going to go with the Blitz. And I think having lost twice in the regular season, I don't think the Blitz are going to go through that again. I believe that Mark Moss and the guys down there will have the guys pumped up, ready to go, and they'll be looking at the previous game's footage. They'll be looking at the future on the weekend as well. trying to sort of cut out any kind of errors there. But I'm going to go 2 scores blitz. I've
Okay.
just got a funny feeling that the Blitz are going to come back this season. I think they're going to take the national championship again.
Overall, it's going to be a fantastic weekend of football, and I, for one, absolutely cannot wait to see these games in real life. It's just going to be such a great weekend of football. BritBowl always is. So for all the fans attending, you're in for a great weekend, and we look forward to meeting you down there as we're broadcasting.
And remember, you can sit at the comfort of your own home and watch all 4 finals. But bear in mind, we also have the junior finals, which is the London Blitz against the Lancashire Wolverines.
That's right.
We believe. So congratulations to the junior teams who will be taking part in the final there. So all 4 finals over one weekend, and you can get it all on Gridiron TV.
Well, that's going to do it for this week's show, so thanks very much for watching. As always, if you'd like to get in touch with the show, you're more than welcome. If you'd like to follow us on Twitter, it's @gridiron_TV, where you can follow us for updates from games as well as special announcements.
And also we're on Facebook at Gridiron TV, and we also have our special Road to BritBowl app, where you can see all the previous games, the semi-finals and quarter-finals, and also the most important thing, the link to watch us live at BritBowl.
Yeah, and then you can head straight to our website, which is www.gridirontv.co.uk, where you can find all our previous episodes, plus all our previous interviews with players and coaches from around the country.
And also, if you want your team involved, if you want to be on the show, or you have any news regarding your team, you can email us at gridirontv@gmail.com.
So for myself and Stuart and all the team at Gridiron TV, thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you again next time.
Goodbye.